In the small, forgotten town of Ravenscroft, nestled deep within the shadows of towering trees, there lived a woman named Olivia. She was an introvert, preferring the solace of her own company over the hustle and bustle of the outside world. However, there was one thing that haunted her dreams and sent shivers down her spine: clowns. Ever since childhood, Olivia harbored an irrational fear of clowns. Their painted faces, exaggerated smiles, and unpredictable antics filled her with an inexplicable dread. The mere thought of a clown's presence was enough to make her palms clammy and her heart race. It was a fear she had managed to keep at bay throughout her life, until the day her circumstances took an unexpected turn. Olivia found herself in dire financial straits, unable to secure a job in the struggling town. Desperation gnawed at her, pushing her to the edge of reason. It was then that she stumbled upon a peculiar job listing, an opening for a general assistant at a traveling circus. The pay was meager, but it promised food and shelter. Swallowing her anxiety, Olivia applied and was hired almost immediately. As she arrived at the circus grounds, a sense of foreboding washed over her. The air was thick with an unsettling energy, and the distant laughter of unseen performers seemed to echo through the desolate landscape. She was led to a small caravan that would be her home for the duration of her employment. The circus, known as Cirque Macabre, boasted an eclectic assortment of performers, from acrobats to fire eaters. But there was one group Olivia desperately wished to avoid: the clowns. The first few days passed relatively uneventfully. Olivia kept her head down, focused on her assigned tasks, and tried to steer clear of the clown tent. However, the circus had a way of drawing her in. Late one night, as she wandered through the deserted grounds, she found herself standing in front of the colorful, striped entrance to the ominous tent. A soft, haunting melody emanated from within, coaxing her to step closer. Against her better judgment, Olivia entered the tent, only to be greeted by an otherworldly sight. The interior was a labyrinth of mirrors and flickering lights, creating a disorienting and surreal atmosphere. She could feel eyes watching her from every angle. Suddenly, the silence was shattered by the sound of distant laughter. Olivia's heart raced as she turned to see a group of clowns emerging from the shadows. Their faces were grotesque, painted with exaggerated expressions that seemed to mock her deepest fears. Panicking, she tried to flee, but the mirrors seemed to multiply, distorting her sense of direction. The clowns closed in, their laughter growing louder and more menacing. Olivia stumbled through the maze of mirrors, her fear escalating with each passing moment. The haunting melody played on a loop, echoing in her ears like a macabre lullaby. Just as she thought she couldn't bear it any longer, the clowns disappeared, leaving her alone in the disorienting darkness. From that night on, Olivia's world unraveled. The circus seemed to come alive with a sinister energy, and the clowns appeared in the most unexpected places, lurking in the shadows, staring at her from the distant corners of the camp. Sleep became a distant memory as nightmares invaded her every waking moment. As the days stretched into weeks, Olivia's mental state deteriorated. The once vibrant colors of the circus now appeared muted and ominous. She could no longer distinguish between reality and her vivid nightmares. Desperation gripped her, and she contemplated leaving the circus, but an unseen force seemed to bind her to Cirque Macabre. One fateful night, as she roamed the grounds in a daze, Olivia stumbled upon a forgotten corner of the circus, a graveyard of discarded props and worn-out costumes. Among the relics of performances past, she discovered an old, tattered clown costume. It beckoned to her like a cursed relic, and an inexplicable compulsion forced her to put it on. As she gazed at her reflection in a cracked mirror, the painted face stared back at her, a grotesque mask that mirrored her deepest fears. The once fearful Olivia was now a part of the very nightmare she had desperately tried to escape. The circus, it seemed, had claimed another soul, and Olivia became a permanent resident of the haunted world she had unwittingly entered. The once lively laughter of the circus now echoed with a sinister tone as Olivia, now one with the clowns, roamed the grounds, a twisted figure forever bound to the nightmarish realm of Cirque Macabre. The moon cast an eerie glow over the circus grounds, and the once joyous melodies had transformed into haunting tunes that seemed to resonate with the tormented souls trapped within the circus's malevolent embrace. Olivia, now adorned in the cursed clown costume, moved with an unnatural grace, her every step synchronized with the eerie rhythm of the circus. The other performers, oblivious to Olivia's internal torment, continued their acts as if nothing had changed. The acrobats swung from their trapezes, the fire eaters twirled their flaming batons, and the contortionists twisted their bodies into grotesque shapes. Only the clowns, now joined by Olivia, moved with an unsettling unity, their painted faces concealing the horrors that lay beneath. As the nights passed, the circus became a macabre spectacle, attracting curious onlookers who were drawn to the bizarre allure that hung in the air like a thick fog. Unbeknownst to the spectators, they were stepping into a realm where reality and nightmare converged. Olivia, now a puppet of the malevolent forces that lurked within the circus, found herself at the center of the sinister performances. Her movements were no longer her own. Instead, she danced to an unseen force that guided her through the grotesque choreography of the night. The once fearful woman had become a living nightmare, her presence casting a shadow over the souls who dared to witness the cursed spectacle. As the circus traveled from town to town, the legend of Cirque Macabre spread like wildfire. Whispers of mysterious disappearances and unexplained horrors surrounded the troupe, yet the allure of the supernatural drew more unsuspecting souls into its clutches. Olivia's family, worried about her sudden disappearance, began a desperate search that led them to the small towns where the circus had left its mark. They encountered townsfolk with hollow eyes, haunted by the memories of the spectral performances. Some spoke of a cursed clown, forever bound to the circus, while others warned of the malevolent force that seemed to consume all who ventured too close. In a final act of desperation, Olivia's family arrived at the outskirts of a town just as the circus was about to set up its tents once again. The air hung heavy with the stench of dread, and the ominous melodies of the circus reached a deafening crescendo. Olivia's family, guided by an unexplainable force, made their way through the dimly lit paths to the heart of Cirque Macabre. There, beneath the faded lights and the grotesque faces, they found Olivia, or what remained of her. The cursed clown costume clung to her like a second skin, and her eyes, once filled with fear, were now vacant and hollow. The family pleaded with her to break free from the malevolent grip, but Olivia's voice was lost to the shadows that enveloped her soul. As the final notes of the haunting melody echoed through the circus, the family was forced to retreat, leaving Olivia to the cursed fate that awaited her. Cirque Macabre, a traveling nightmare, packed its tents once again, leaving behind a trail of broken spirits and lingering nightmares. The cursed clown, forever bound to the spectral circus, continued to dance through the shadows, a macabre figure lost in the twisted tapestry of a horror that transcended the boundaries between reality and the supernatural. Years passed, and the cursed circus continued its relentless journey through the forgotten corners of the world. The legend of Cirque Macabre grew, becoming a cautionary tale whispered by those who believed in the supernatural. Towns avoided its path, and those who had witnessed its sinister performances carried the weight of the haunting memories with them for the rest of their lives. Meanwhile, Olivia's family, haunted by the loss of their daughter, dedicated their lives to unraveling the mysteries of Cirque Macabre. They delved into ancient lore, consulted mystics and paranormal experts, all in a desperate attempt to free Olivia from the cursed circus that held her captive. One day, as the family ventured into the heart of a forgotten forest, they stumbled upon an ancient tome that spoke of dark rituals and forbidden pacts. It detailed the cursed history of Cirque Macabre, a pact made with malevolent entities that bound the souls of those who dared to enter its twisted embrace. With newfound knowledge, the family devised a plan to break the curse and free Olivia from the nightmarish grip of the circus. Armed with ancient symbols and incantations, they returned to the outskirts of a town rumored to be the next destination for Cirque Macabre. As the cursed circus began its performance, Olivia's family initiated the ritual, hoping against hope that they could sever the ties that bound her to the malevolent forces. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy as the symbols glowed, and the incantations echoed through the night. For a brief moment, it seemed as though the cursed spell would be broken. The ominous melodies faltered, and the circus tents trembled with an unseen force. However, the malevolent entities fought back, their resistance intensifying with each passing moment. In the climax of the ritual, the skies above the circus erupted in a tempest of dark clouds and swirling shadows. The very fabric of reality seemed to waver, and Olivia's family felt the weight of the ancient curse bearing down on them. It was a battle between the forces of light and the encroaching darkness. In a desperate act, Olivia's family called out to her, their voices cutting through the chaos. For a fleeting moment, Olivia's vacant eyes flickered with recognition. The cursed clown costume wavered, its grip on her soul momentarily loosening. It was a moment of vulnerability in the face of ancient malevolence. As the family pressed on with the ritual, a blinding light enveloped Olivia, and her body convulsed as if battling an unseen force. The haunting melodies of the circus reached a crescendo, echoing through the night, but this time with a discordant tone. The cursed entities fought fiercely, but the family's determination prevailed. In a burst of ethereal energy, the curse shattered. Olivia's family watched in awe as the dark clouds dispersed, and the circus tents faded into the shadows. The malevolent entities, defeated and scattered, left Cirque Macabre, releasing the souls it had ensnared over the years. The cursed clown costume lay abandoned on the ground, a tattered remnant of the nightmarish ordeal. Olivia, freed from the spectral circus, collapsed into her family's arms. The weight of years spent in the haunted realm lifted, and her eyes, once vacant, regained their spark. As the first rays of dawn broke through the horizon, Olivia and her family left the remnants of Cirque Macabre behind, forever sealing its dark chapter in the annals of supernatural lore. The cursed circus, now nothing more than a fading memory, vanished into the mist of forgotten nightmares, leaving only a cautionary tale of the woman who faced her deepest fears and emerged from the shadows into the light.
Like, subscribe, and click on notifications that will allow you to stay up to date with the news and not miss videos from the channel, where there will be many more horror stories.